This whole experience was quite surreal and not what I was expecting. Hi there, my name is Kevin, and I make honest and to the point, narrated trip reports about flights and premium hotels all over the world. This is episode 133 on Saudia, the channel's 28th featured airline from Athens to Jeddah. Stick around because the full Saudia experience begins in 10 seconds. Welcome to Athens, right now on the beautiful new highway linking the city center to the airport, located quite literally on the other side of a mountain. Today's video is the first of two legs on Saudia with a final destination of Kuala Lumpur. If you'd like to know more about the exact fare that I paid or my next 5 videos in queue, please check out the description below. Athens International Airport is by no means brand new, but it is very well maintained, presents well, and is easy to navigate, though its capacity limits do seem to be constantly pushed. Greece was one of the first countries globally to reopen to tourism during COVID, and so operations here have been in the just another busy day at the airport category for quite some time. Speaking of time, yours is valuable, which is why this video is unsponsored, and you're only going to hear my own honest opinions in this review, because sponsored, unbiased reviews simply don't exist. Imagine if Saudia was paying me to make this video. How could I be honest? But you have nothing to worry about because this flight was 100% self-funded. And so, whether you're curious to check out a new airline or researching for your next trip, if you enjoy my content, a thumbs up on this video and a subscription would be greatly appreciated. Last, I haven't said this in quite a while, but it's always a standing offer. Feel free to give me any and all feedback that you'd like to in the comments. I'm constantly trying to improve my content, so feedback really is critical. A genuine thank you in advance. Alright, time to check in. While I only had carry-on luggage and already had a digital boarding pass, I did need to pass by the check-in desk for document verification, something that I was actually trying to avoid. Luckily, it was a quick process, and within minutes I was through the priority security line and in the menage of duty-free shops. Why was I trying to avoid check-in? Well, I was wearing shorts, as one does in August in Athens. Thing is, Saudia has a dress code. In recent years, their official policy, along with most of their policies, have, I'll say, come in line with any other airlines owned by conservative governments. Their current policy references clothing choices that are deemed respectful. I made sure to wear shorts that covered my knees and surely was not going to push my luck with flip-flops, and no one seemed to give a second look, including on my transit in Jeddah, where many other passengers were pushing the boundaries much further than I was. Perhaps it's just my experience or perception, but I swear that airports always seem to park El Al and Qatar aircraft next to each other. Kinda like it's a bit of subtle diplomacy. Alright, onto the lounge. Saudia gave access to the Goldair handling lounge, which was busy, hosting a variety of airlines. That said, the space was comfortable once you could find a seat, with a decent selection of packaged food, wines, and drinks. Throughout this video, I'm going to talk about Saudia, as you'd expect, but another topic I want to mention is Saudi Arabia's newsworthy new airline, RIA or RIA, which I do think is actually a clever move by the kingdom. That I'll cover in the next video, which is my flight from Jeddah to Kuala Lumpur. Let's continue to look around the lounge a bit and talk about Saudia. Formerly known as Saudi Arabian Airlines, Saudia currently has 144 aircraft, a mix of 777s, 787s, and A330 wide bodies, and an all Airbus narrow-body fleet. They also have 138 aircraft on order, but I'll note that 100 of those are for the Lilium jet, an electric aircraft concept which is still in early development stages. Now we're heading to our bus gate, which was relatively organized, and while there was a priority line, all passengers ended up boarding the same bus. This next bit is why I find airline history so interesting, as they frequently paint a picture that you wouldn't expect. Saudia's beginnings are actually pretty interesting, with the government creating the air service in 1945 after receiving a DC-3 as a gift from FDR, the US president at the time. They began operations as Saudi Arabian Airlines and were actually under the management of TWA. Fast forward to the 70s, and they were flying to 50 destinations, had changed their name to Saudia, and introduced a joint service with Pan Am from Dhahran to New York, using 747 SPs, switching to a non-stop service from Jeddah and later Riyadh in 1981, which became the first ever regularly scheduled flights to overfly 4 continents. In 1997, they changed their name back to Saudi Arabian Airlines, only to then change it again in 2012 to coincide with their joining of SkyTeam. It was an absolutely perfect day for a walk up the stairs, and as we do so, let's take a look at today's stats. We'd be departing just 9 minutes late and heading up to 35,000 feet for our 3-hour southerly route to Jeddah, where we would land 26 minutes early. While Saudia has many Airbus Neo aircraft on order, to my knowledge they don't yet have any in service. But when you walk on board and you find your seat to be a lie flat for a 3-hour flight, you really don't care how old the plane is. These 4 rows of business class really did feel like they took up near half of the A320's length. An extra bonus was that the seat next to me was vacant for today's flight. If you'll notice here, I accidentally caught a flight attendant in my shot. The thing to notice though is that he's smiling and not telling me to put down my camera. Personally, I never purposely put a camera in anyone's face. Regardless if it's legal or permitted, it's not my style, and it's surely not something that I would want someone doing to me. So I'm pretty discreet as it is. But I was pretty much expecting to be asked to stop filming at some point, but it never happened on either of these flights or in Jeddah. If you're watching this, you probably already know that Saudia is a dry airline, meaning that they don't serve alcohol, and no, they do not permit you to consume your own alcohol on board either. Don't worry, you'll survive. There was a surprisingly long list of movies on offer. Yes, of course, they are all subject to Saudi censorship, but you can see the variety available on your screen now. Let's take a look at some of the seat details. Controls are within easy reach, though you will start to see a bit of a trend of seeing some things that have scuff marks here and there. Each seat had a pillow and a blanket, and the friendly crew came around with Arabic coffee and dates just before pushback. As we push back, the Saudi purser made the typical speech and concluded with something along the lines of, "We are here at your service and have a diverse crew speaking English, Arabic, Albanian, and Indian to meet your needs." I think that sentence perfectly sums up exactly what's going on at Saudia right now. Big aspirations, trying to appear more customer-friendly and focused, but not quite there yet. The traveler's prayer was played at a surprisingly quiet volume, and we taxied to the runway. We'd be taking off today to the south and heading across Crete and the Mediterranean Sea before crossing into Egyptian airspace just west of Alexandria. The spool up and takeoff coming up next. In case you were wondering how this flight came to be, it was just so cheap that I couldn't pass it up. And the entire European trip that you've seen in the past 10 or 15 episodes was all built around this flight, which I grabbed for $501 to Malaysia, one way of course. The legroom was more than sufficient, and as always with these angled 2x2 seats, the bulkheads offer significantly larger footwells. The seat had a fully adjustable headrest, over-the-shoulder reading light, and the awkwardly placed storage area that this model of seat is kinda known for. Back there is a universal outlet, USB port, headphone jack, and some pretty premium headphones waiting for us. In between the seats is a small privacy barrier, and under the armrest you'll find all of the literature, the party bag, and the IFE remote. On the other side is an armrest which can be raised or lowered, allowing you to make a sleeping surface that's a whopping 29 inches or 73 centimeters wide at the shoulders, and up to 72 inches or 183 centimeters long in the bulkhead seats. The tray table pops up like so and is very sturdy, and next is something I give Saudia a massive amount of credit for. I've received countless COVID kits in the past 2 years, and this is the first one that was actually well thought out and interesting. The pouch and the mask itself have various motifs and an info card explaining which region the motif is native to in Saudi Arabia. The pillow and blanket were both in the soft and clean and good enough for a short flight category. And the headphones were better than you'll find on just about any other short-haul premium flight, and they don't snatch them back 30 minutes before landing like American does. We flew over Crete, and the meal service was about to begin, something that I was very much looking forward to. Unfortunately, my flight didn't have paper menus, and the 2 starter choices and the whopping 4 main choices were told to me verbally. For starters, there was an Arabic meze and something with a smoked beef. For the main courses, the choices were fish with couscous, chicken with rice, beef with mashed potatoes, or a mushroom ravioli. I asked which one was the most Saudi, and she replied the chicken rice, which was their version of El Kabsa. The menu was read off of, and my order was taken on a mini notebook, which the flight attendant had clearly bought herself. In the scoring cards, when I mention haphazard systems, it's little things like this that I'm talking about. Okay, all of that said, the food was fantastic, and more than made up for the fact that there wasn't a glass of wine to pair with it. Up until the point of this flight, this was the best dish that I had so far this year, though that honor has since passed on to Ethiopian Airlines. A look at the bathroom after the meal service showed a more or less presentable bathroom with some products on offer in a torn-up holder. As a whole, the bathroom could have done well with a thorough detail cleaning though. Soon enough, we were crossing the Red Sea, about to begin our descent. Jeddah is Saudi's primary hub, though they also have a massive presence in Riyadh, and fly to many destinations alternating between the two. One last service detail. Starched and pressed cloth coasters. Something that I don't think that I've ever seen in business class before, and a very nice subtle touch. Over the mountains of Egypt and then the Red Sea, we approached Jeddah and looped around to land from the south. Looking out the window and seeing cities that I've never been to before from the air is truly, truly one of my favorite things to do. We landed and made our sunset taxi to the other side of the terminal, and while we were at a normal jet bridge gate, we were deplaned by stairs and bused to another area of the terminal. And we made it. Transit security was a wee bit overkill, but I guess that's to be expected, and I was soon on my way to the business class lounge for a 6-hour sit. Let's get into the flip-flop score. Overall, I'm a little surprised to say it was a really nice flight. The food was fantastic, the service from all of the crew was very warm and friendly, and everything went without a single hiccup. If you'd like to know if my next sector was just as smooth and enjoyable, click that thumbs up button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss my next video flying to Kuala Lumpur.